I was reading recently that depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide. I know depression is very common. I have thousands of clients. I've spoken to many of them about depression. Astrologically, it could be seen fairly easily in one's birth chart. But I'd like to make a couple of comments on depression and how we could look at things differently. Depression is like the world coming down on you, or sometimes it is like we have no motivation to do anything because everything is pointless, worthless. It amounts to nothing. My life is empty. It has no value, no virtue. What's the point? Why bother? It's a serious state of mind to be in, and for some nowadays especially, it leads to suicide. So it's not a circumstance that we can take lightly. A couple things to remember. This world in which we live is known as the material world. The material world is made of matter. Everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end here in the material world. Everything comes to an end. Everything has a starting point, it stays for some time, and then it diminishes, it dwindles, it dies off. So that's how it works in this world. This is not our world, it's not where we belong. We're souls, not bodies. The bodies are only temporary coverings to undergo the experience that we have as individuals, as humans, and other species in this material world. The point or the problem is we become too overly identified with our lives in this world. And you may argue, yeah, what else are we supposed to do? Well, of course, you're right, because this is a three-dimensional experience. And no matter where you look, you're surrounded by it. You cannot escape it, seemingly. You can get absorbed in any kind of three-dimensional experience, or, for example, you can go into a movie theater in the dark, in front of the big screen, and get completely absorbed in a story that is taking place on the screen, and forgetting for a while that you're even there or who you are. It's possible. We can also do the same thing when we're using 3D video games, perhaps. There must be an outlet so that we understand that this world is not the be-all and end-all. This is not the world to become overly identified with. And how can we do that? The only way, truly, to do that in a lasting, progressive, and life-saving manner is to develop your spirituality, is to develop your consciousness, your awareness, and your identification with yourself as a soul. The soul animates the body. Without a soul, the body does not function. It's dead. You've seen dead bodies. Most of us have. But everything else is there. All the organs are there. All the pieces are there. All the parts. But something's missing. What? The soul. The person is gone. That soul, that person has left. That's what it is. We have to be able to get in touch with our spirituality, our connection to God, to spirit, to that which is beyond us and which by nature is eternal, while we are still in our bodies. Not just after we die, for example. This is the remedy for depression. You must begin to identify yourself as a soul. I don't know how you can do this other than becoming spiritual or developing yourself through meditation, through yoga practice, through reading spiritual books, scriptures. No tradition is more extensive with regard to the information and the methods involving developing your spirituality than the Vedas, the Sanskrit Vedas, or otherwise known as Vedanta. This one is most extensive. Believe me, I've studied them all. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can use the Bible, you can use the Quran, whatever you like. But you must become spiritual. You must get close to God. You must identify yourself as spirit. This is the only way to overcome depression, and when you become depressed, to quickly and easily lift yourself out of it by ceasing to identify with yourself as a limited body, surrounded by the troubles and the tribulations and the trials of this world.